What were some important cultural changes that happened in the 80s and 90s?
In my opinion, the biggest cultural change was music.
And did you prefer the 80s or 90s?
Oh, by all means, the 80s.
And why do you think you preferred this time period?
Just the different types of music that came out. Um, the beginning of MTV music videos, things that never had never been done or seen before.
What was the most important moment of this time to you?
The most important moment of the time. Um, Probably the most important moments that I remember were the space shuttle Challenger disaster explosion.
And how did that affect you?
Oh, just very sad. As the country was very very positive about space travel. The space shuttle program was new. Um, that had it totally entranced the nation, and with the explosion of the Challenger, it devastated people.
And back to what you were saying about music earlier, what was your favorite type of music?
Rock and roll.
And who were some popular musicians at the time?
Musicians or bands. Bands that come to mind are Van Halen, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Journey.
Who was your favorite?
Van Halen, of course.
So what were some popular movies at the time?
Hmm. Let's go with say Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think fits into that criteria. Breakfast Club might be a little bit earlier. Um, Terminator. Platoon, which was controversial, but still a very good movie.
And which one was your favorite?
The Terminator.
What would you say was the most important event during this time?
Um, the removal of the Berlin Wall and let's see, the end of the Cold War, Cold War, if you will.
And what would you say the most tragic moment of the time was?
Um, Again, going back up to the Space Shuttle Challenger explosions.
Who was the most influential person of each of these decades?
For me, probably people might disagree, but I'll go with Ronald Reagan because he was on watch when the Cold War ended, and Bill Gates for the introduction of the computers, desktop computing.
So that leads into our next question. What was the most important technological change of the time, in your opinion?
By all means, the 80s and even up to the early 90s, personal computing. So when I first got out, when I was in high school, there were no personal computers. There were, you had calculators, handheld calculators. That was it. So when I got out of school and started working, the first thing that I started seeing were personal computers going on desktops, and that was just a revolution. Totally changed the world and the way business was done.
Okay. Thank you for your time. That's all.
You're quite welcome.